The crash in the cave. The stars were still shining when Jack's ship came crashing down through the dark sky. Sparks flew as metal tore apart in the atmosphere. The jungle below roared with strange sounds, but none were louder than the explosion. When the ship hit the ground, Jack was the only survivor. He opened his eyes slowly. His body ached. Smoke was rising from the wrecked ship behind him. His head throbbed and there was blood on his forehead. He tried to stand but collapsed again. His suit was torn. Oxygen levels were low. He needed shelter. The thick alien jungle was hot and full of buzzing insects. Trees were purple and red. Strange eyes blinked from the shadows. Jack limped through the vines holding his ribs. After an hour, he found a cave hidden behind giant blue leaves. He crawled inside, weak and dizzy. The cave was dark and cold, but safe. He dragged himself deeper in and collapsed beside a glowing green crystal stuck in the wall. Its light was soft. The stone hummed gently, almost as if it was alive. Jack breathed slowly, closed his eyes, and passed out. Hours passed. Far away, in the jungle trees, an alien girl named Jara looked up. Her long silver hair shimmered under moonlight. She had sharp violet eyes and skin like smooth stone with soft purple lines. She was young but brave, an explorer of her tribe. She had seen the fire in the sky. Now she followed the trail. Burnt trees, torn metal, and broken ground led her to the crash site. She found the wreckage and sniffed the air. Something was alive. Something different. She followed the scent through the jungle. When Jara reached the cave, she moved quietly like a shadow. Inside, she saw the human. He was lying still, breathing weakly. His body was strange, soft skin, no scales, no fangs. His clothes were torn, and his chest moved up and down. Then her eyes dropped lower. There was a strange shape under the cloth near his legs. She blinked. The area was swollen, moving slightly on its own. Her first thought, a parasite? A venom sac? An alien infection? She gasped. Jara believed he was wounded. She pulled out her healer's kit from her belt. Small glowing, stone salves and vines. She stepped closer, her face serious. She gently placed her hand on his chest. His body was warm. He groaned. She quickly checked his arms, neck, and chest. Nothing dangerous. Then she hesitated and slowly pulled the cloth near the bulge to check the injury. Her face turned red. It wasn't a parasite. It was part of him. And it twitched. Jara jumped back. What kind of creature had that? She had studied animals, seen mating dances, but this was different. It made her feel something strange inside her chest, but she convinced herself, this is a serious injury, I must help. She dipped her fingers into a cooling salve and reached toward the swelling. Just as her fingers touched it, the human groaned loudly. Jack's eyes flew open. What are you doing? He shouted. Jara gasped and stepped back. Jack tried to sit up, but pain shot through his side. Wait, who are you? Jara didn't understand his words, but his voice sounded scared. She tried to explain with hand signs. She pointed to the swelling, made a worried face, then motioned to the salve. Jack's face turned red. He waved his hands. No, it's not an injury, it's normal, just don't touch it. Jara tilted her head in confusion. Not injury, she whispered. Jack nodded quickly. Yes, no injury, just my body, normal. Jara blinked, then slowly nodded. She stepped back, feeling both embarrassed and curious. She had never seen a creature like him before. She wondered what else made him different. Jack leaned back, against the wall, trying to catch his breath. Then he noticed her, really noticed her, her alien beauty, the soft glow of her skin, her gentle eyes, her hands, still holding the salve. Who are you? He whispered. Jara didn't answer, but she smiled. And for the first time since the crash, Jack felt a little safer. Still, Something moved deeper in the jungle. Strange eyes watched from the shadows outside the cave. And they didn't like that. The human had survived. Jara couldn't sleep that night. She sat near the cave entrance, watching the stars fade as morning crept over the jungle. Inside the cave, the strange human rested, breathing heavily, sometimes mumbling words in a language she didn't understand. She had touched something forbidden, something she couldn't explain. Her cheeks still felt warm when she remembered. The swelling. Her fingers still smelled like his strange skin and the healing salve she had applied. Was it a mistake? Did she do something wrong? In her tribe, injuries near that part of the body were considered dangerous. A venom sac, a parasite egg sac. That's what the elders taught. But this human, he called it normal. He had even looked embarrassed. Jara didn't know what to believe. Still, one thing was clear. He needed help. At sunrise, she crept back into the cave. Jack was half awake, groaning in pain. His lips were dry. His body shook. Without asking, she pulled a leather pouch from her side and helped him drink a blue liquid. It was made from moonvine fruit, cool and full of energy. Jack drank slowly, staring at her. "Thank you," he whispered. She didn't understand his words, but she understood the way he looked at her. Gentle, grateful, not afraid anymore. Jara smiled. Then suddenly Jack tensed again. His body twitched and the swelling returned. It grew under the cloth almost instantly. Jara's eyes widened. There it is again. She looked at Jack. His face turned red. Jara pointed at it. Swelling again? Jack looked away. "Please don't ask." Jara tilted her head, confused. "Danger swelling? Pain swelling?" Jack buried his face in his hands. "It's not pain, it just happens." Jara thought hard. Then she got up, opened her pouch, and pulled out a tribal medicine tool. It was a flat stone disc with heat, crystal on one side. She looked serious. "In my tribe, this reduces swelling." Jack panicked. No disc, no heat." Jara froze. The human was clearly afraid. But of what? Maybe the swelling was a curse? Jara's eyes widened. Could he be a sacred being? Her grandmother once told her a legend. If a star being falls from the sky with a strange gift between his legs, he is not to be feared. He is to be honored. He carries the power of life. What if that swelling was the gift? Jara slowly sat down. She folded her hands and bowed slightly toward him. Jack stared. What are you doing?" She didn't reply. She only whispered something in her language. Sut akai vermel. The words meant, "I honor the fire of your body." Jack blinked. Is this a religious thing now? He tried to stand but groaned and fell back. Jara rushed forward and caught him, her arms wrapped around his chest to support him. For a moment, they were close. Too close. She could feel his warmth, his heartbeat. Jack looked into her eyes. "Thanks." Jara held his gaze. Something changed between them in that moment. Not fear, not confusion. Something gentle. But that peaceful moment was broken by a loud noise, crack, boom. Outside the cave, something roared. The ground shook. Jara jumped to her feet and grabbed her spear. Her face turned fierce. "Stay here," she said quickly, even though Jack didn't understand, but her body language was clear. "Danger." Jara stepped out of the cave and vanished into the thick trees. Jack, still weak, dragged himself to the entrance. He peeked out and saw large shadows moving among the trees. Something big, something hunting. He crawled back inside. His heart pounded. Was this jungle even more dangerous than he imagined? Meanwhile, Jara moved through the vines like a ghost. She spotted the giant beast, green skin, 6 legs, sharp teeth. A Rundar beast. It had followed the crash scent. And now it wanted flesh. Jara gritted her teeth and raised her spear. "If you want the human, you'll have to go through me," she whispered. Tribal myths and confusion. Jara's spear shot forward like lightning. The Rundar beast roared and crashed into the trees. Its claws slashed at her, but she rolled under its belly, slicing its leg with a clean strike. Green blood splashed on the jungle floor. Hidden in the tall trees, 3 alien warriors watched her fight. They were members of Jara's tribe, sent by the village elders to follow her. But what they saw next shocked them more than the beast. The beast turned to attack. Again, but a blinding blue light came from the cave. Jack had crawled out holding a strange crystal from inside the cave. It glowed in his hands and hummed louder when he stepped forward. The beast froze. The crystal reacted, sending out a pulse that made the ground shake. The beast screamed and ran into the jungle, frightened. The warriors stared in awe. One of them whispered, "It's true. The flesh god walks again." Jara looked at Jack, her eyes wide. Jack's body was still shaking, but he didn't fall. "Are you okay?" he asked, even though he knew she didn't understand. Jara stepped forward, slowly. Her hand touched the crystal in his palm. It calmed down, the glow fading. Behind the trees, the warriors ran back to the village. Later that day, in the tribal council tent, the oldest elder, covered in glowing feathers and gold paint, leaned forward. "Tell me again," he said. The warrior nodded. "The girl found the Starman. He carries the ancient crystal. It obeys him. The beast fled from him." Gasps filled the room. The elder spoke again. "Then it is true. He may be the one from the story, the one who brings fertility and power. But what if he's dangerous?" one female warrior asked. The elder smiled. "If he's dangerous, we must know. If he is sacred, we must honor him." He turned to his guards. "Bring the human to us, and bring the girl too. If the bonding has begun, we must complete it." Back at the cave, Jara was preparing a fire. Jack was sitting on a log watching her work. He had wrapped his wounds with cloth and vines. His strength was returning slowly. Jara glanced at him again and again. She remembered what the elders taught her about ancient visitors from the stars. The last one who came brought new crops, healing, and life. Was Jack one of them? Her fingers touched her own chest where her heartbeat raced. Suddenly, drums echoed through the jungle. Jara stood up fast. Jack looked confused. "What's that?" Before he could move, tribal guards appeared at the cave entrance. Jara stepped in front of Jack to protect him, but the guards lowered their spears and bowed. "The elders call for you," one of them said in their language. Jara understood. She looked at Jack. "They want to see you." Jack shook his head. "See me? Why?" She gently held his hand. "You are special." Jack didn't know what that meant, but he trusted her. That night in the tribal circle, the whole village had gathered. Fires burned high. Drums beat like heartbeats. The air smelled of flowers, smoke, and fruit. Jara walked into the circle, with Jack at her side. The people stared at him, some with fear, some with curiosity, many with hope. The elder stood. He held out a carved wooden bowl filled with glowing dust. He blew it into the air. It sparkled and floated down onto Jack's skin, and the crystal in Jack's hand began to glow again. The people gasped. The elder spoke. "He is the one who holds the fire." He turned to Jara. "You touch the swelling?" She froze. Her face turned red. Jack looked confused. "What's happening?" The elder raised both hands. "Then the bonding has started. She will guide him. She will learn from him, and if the stars allow, they will bring life back to the tribe." Everyone began to cheer. Jara stood still, her heart pounding. Jack turned to her. "Why is everyone looking at me like that?" Jara whispered. "They think you're chosen, that you came from the sky to bring new life." Jack laughed nervously. "That's a lot of pressure." But deep inside, something told him this was bigger than just survival. He wasn't just a guest here anymore, he was becoming part of something ancient and powerful. The moon was full, shining like silver fire over the jungle. Inside a round hut made of glowing silk threads and carved bones, Jack sat cross-legged on soft leaves. Tribal music echoed faintly outside. A fruit drink rested in his hands, sweet, warm, and slightly spicy. He wasn't sure what was in it. He wasn't sure what was happening anymore either. That day had been strange. First, the tribe worshipped him. Then they started talking about something called the ritual of discovery. And now Jara was missing. He looked around the room, nervous. Just then the curtain at the entrance opened, and Jara stepped inside. But she was not dressed like before. She wore a long silver robe with soft feathers on the shoulders. Her face was painted with white lines. Her arms sparkled with dust. Her eyes didn't blink. She was serious, calm, powerful. Jack's breath caught in his throat. Jara? She walked toward him slowly and sat down across from him. Tonight, she said in her broken English, we begin. Ritual. Understanding. Understanding what? Jack asked gently. Jara placed a carved wooden orb between them. You, me, truth of body, truth of heart. Jack raised an eyebrow. Is this some kind of mating thing? Jara tilted her head. Maybe, maybe not. Not only body, spirit too. She touched the orb. It glowed blue. Jack sighed. Okay, so what do we do? Jara reached forward and took his hand. Her touch was soft, but her grip was firm. We share breath, she said. Then she leaned forward and gently placed her forehead against his. Jack closed his eyes. They sat there silently, breathing as one. Jara's heart pounded. She felt heat rise in her chest. But this wasn't just about attraction. She had been chosen. She didn't fully understand why, but she had accepted the tribe's will. Jack's mind raced. His life had been war, missions, space travel. He had never connected like this before. And now, this alien girl, who once thought his body was infected, was holding his soul like it was sacred. Suddenly the orb glowed red. Jara gasped. Jack pulled back. What was that? Jara stared at the orb. It means someone lies. What? Jara stood quickly. Her eyes darted toward the doorway. Someone watched us. Outside the hut, behind the shadows, another girl stood in the bushes, teeth clenched. Her name was Talmia, one of the elder's daughters. She had wanted the human for herself. She believed the prophecy was hers to fulfill. She was strong, beautiful, and cruel. She whispered to herself, that swelling should have been mine to discover. Talmia turned and disappeared into the jungle, her heart full of jealousy, and a plan forming in her mind. Back in the hut, Jara paced. The ritual. Someone tried to break it. Their thought entered. Jack stood too. You mean someone spied on us? She nodded. Yes, it is dangerous. If the ritual is broken, the bond will twist. Jack looked worried. What happens if it twists? Jara whispered. Desire becomes fire. Fire burns us both. Jack suddenly felt a strange heat spreading in his body. His fingers tingled, his heartbeat quickened, and worse, so did the swelling again. Jara's eyes fell to it. She looked up quickly, cheeks glowing. You feel it too? She whispered. Jack sat down. Jara, I don't understand this magic, but something's happening. I can feel it inside. My body reacts to you, not just like that, but like you're calling to me. Jara slowly stepped forward. We stop ritual for now, she said. Jack nodded, but neither moved. They stood too close, and something in the air pulled them closer, until her hands were on his chest, and his fingers brushed the side of her jaw. The moment was electric. But then, a scream outside, both jumped. Jara grabbed her spear. Jack followed. Outside, near the village fire pits, Talmia had collapsed. She screamed and cried. The human touched me, He used his mating power on me. The crowd gasped. The elder stepped forward, angry. Explain. She pointed to Jara and Jack. He made me sick with desire. It's not Jara's ritual. It was mine. Jara's eyes narrowed. Lies. Jack looked completely lost. The elder raised his hand. Enough. He turned to Jack. If two claim the ritual, the only way forward is the trial of choice. Jack blinked. The what now? Jara whispered. You must choose with your touch. The one your body reacts to becomes your bond. Jack looked at Jara, then at Talmia. The whole village held its breath. The trial of choice drums echoed like heartbeats through the jungle night. All the tribe gathered in the circle of fire, a glowing ring of stones where truth could not hide. Jack stood in the center, confused and sweating, while two alien girls, Jara and Talmia, stood on either side of him. The elder raised his arms. The bond has been challenged. Two females claim connection to the Starman, one by ritual, one by desire. Tonight the truth shall speak through the trial of choice. Jack swallowed hard. You want me to choose? The elder nodded. Not with your mind, with your body. Jara stepped forward, eyes calm but burning with emotion. Talmia followed, her face full of false sorrow. Jack looked between them. He liked Jara, trusted her. She had been with him since the crash. She saved him, helped him. Talmia? He barely knew her. But the tribe believed in the test. And the test was strange. The trial rules. Jack had to close his eyes and stand still. Each girl would touch him, gently, without words. His heart rate, breath, and the glow of the bonding orb would decide which one his body reacted to. If the orb stayed blue, the connection was pure. If it turned red, the touch was false. If it turned gold, true bond confirmed. The Ow tribe formed a wide circle, silent and watching. Jara looked at Jack and whispered, Trust what you feel. He nodded once, eyes closing. Talmia went first. She stepped forward slowly. She reached out, gently brushing her fingers along his chest. Then she touched his jaw, his shoulder, and then she did something forbidden. She secretly pressed her poisoned finger to his skin. Jack tensed. The orb in the elder's hands flickered blue, then red. The crowd gasped. Jack opened his eyes and stepped back, coughing. Talmia's eyes widened in mock pain. He resists me, but I felt his soul call. Jara watched quietly. She said nothing. Then Jara stepped forward. She didn't rush. She placed her palm over his heart. Just one touch. Nothing more. Jack felt warmth shoot through his body. Not fire. Not hunger. Comfort. Connection. The orb in the elder's hands turned gold. The entire tribe fell silent. Then, cheers erupted. True bond, someone shouted. Starflame accepts her, another cried. Jack looked at Jara. She was already smiling, but her eyes were teary. He didn't need the magic to confirm it. He already knew. He had chosen her long ago when she first saved him in that cave. But the moment was short-lived. Talmia screamed and fell to the ground, her body shaking. Foam formed at her mouth. The elder rushed to her side. Poison! She used the forbidden trial venom. The crowd panicked. Jara knelt beside her despite the betrayal. Why? Talmia whispered weakly. I wanted to be chosen. I thought he would choose me. If he burned like I burned, the elder shook his head. Foolish girl. You risked his life. You have no honor. Jack looked pale. The spot where Talmia touched him itched, burned. The elder looked at Jara. Only your bond can cool the fire now. Jara looked confused. But the ritual was stopped. No, the elder said. It must finish tonight, or the bond will break forever. Back in the sacred hut, Jack lay down, his body shaking, the venom spreading slowly. Jara sat beside him, Holding his hand tightly, he looked at her through half-closed eyes. "You're really not leaving, huh?" Jara smiled gently. "Never." She brought out the healing balm again, but this time she placed it over her own lips. Not her. Hands. Jack blinked. "What are you—" She leaned down and kissed his chest directly over his heart. A soft glow appeared. The venom's heat began to fade. Her next kiss touched his temple. His breath slowed. Her hands glowed with the bonding light as she placed them over his lower body, not for confusion but for restoration. With every touch, the fire lessened. His swelling returned, not painful this time, but natural, alive. Jara placed her forehead against his again, just like before. But this time, the orb in the corner of the room turned white, a color never seen before in the village. Outside the hut, the elders bowed their heads. A legend was being rewritten. Shadows in the jungle morning light fell gently over the village. Colorful banners waved in the warm breeze. Tribal musicians played soft rhythms. Children danced. Flowers were placed outside each hut. Today was not just a celebration. It was the first time in 100 years that a human had bonded with one of their own, and the first time the white glow had appeared. Jack stepped out of Jara's hut, wearing a robe made from silver leaves and golden feathers. His wounds had healed, but something deeper had changed inside him. He felt stronger, not just in body, but in heart. Jara walked beside him, wearing a dress that shimmered in the sun. Her face was calm, but her fingers stayed wrapped around his wrist, like she didn't want to lose him again. Tribal members bowed as they passed. Children whispered, "The Star Man." An old woman dropped petals at Jack's feet. "Bless the fire bonded," Jack whispered to Jara. "Is it always this dramatic?" She smiled softly. "You are legend now." They reached the fire circle where the elder stood waiting. A giant roasted fruit beast cooked behind him. The scent filled the air. The elder lifted his hand. "Today we honor the bond, but also, we prepare for what comes next." Jack's smile faded. "What does that mean?" Jara answered before the elder could. "They saw the light too." "Who?" Jara looked toward the jungle. "The forgotten ones. Far from the village. Deep in the cursed jungle. Dark figures stood around a black pool. Their skin was cracked, their eyes glowing red. They had once been like Jara's people. But long ago they rejected the bond and followed the path of domination. They were exiled, cursed. And now they had seen the white light rise from the queue. Humans bond. The leader, tall and wrapped in bones, raised a black staff. "The old magic lives again. A Starman has returned." He pointed at the sky. "We must take him, use his fire, and end their village once and for all." The warriors around him hissed and prepared to move. Back at the village, that night Jack and Jara sat quietly near the glowing stream. Jack dipped his feet in the warm water. "So, the people who were cast out? They're coming?" Jara nodded slowly. "Yes, they hate us. They believe humans are weapons, not mates." Jack looked down. "And they want to take me?" Jara's hand tightened around his. "Yes, to breed, to destroy, or both." Jack was silent for a long time. Then he looked at her, serious. "I won't run." Jara's eyes widened. "I crashed here," Jack said. "You saved me. You believed in me. I'm not going to abandon you now." Jara looked down, then leaned. "Closer," she whispered. "Then I must give you the final gift." Jack blinked. "Gift?" She pulled a necklace from her dress. A stone hung from it, white like the bonding glow. "This joins your soul to mine. It's called a Vertari." She placed it gently around his neck. The stone glowed briefly, then faded. Jack didn't feel different, but Jara did. Her breath caught. She now felt everything in Jack's body. His heartbeat, his warmth, even his fear and his rising courage. "You are one of us now," she whispered. He nodded, and then the drums stopped. A scream tore through the night. Flames lit the edge of the village. One of the outer huts exploded, into fire. Warriors ran to defend, but they were too late. The Forgotten Ones had arrived. They moved like shadows, attacking with black spears and poisoned smoke. Jara pulled Jack behind her. "Stay close!" He didn't listen. He grabbed a dropped spear and charged forward. Jara yelled, "No!" But Jack had already slammed into one of the invaders, knocking him down. Jara followed, fighting beside him. Their bond glowed faintly with every strike. But the Dark Leader stepped into the village center, holding a crimson crystal. He saw Jack. "The fire bonded," he hissed. "Come with us or watch her burn." He raised the crystal, pointing it at Jara. "The fire that remembers." Smoke rose into the alien sky. Screams echoed through the jungle trees. Jack stood in the village center, blood on his arms, a broken spear in his hand. Across from him, the Dark Leader of the Forgotten Ones raised a crimson crystal toward Jara. She was trapped, held by two shadow warriors, her arms bound in black roots. Her eyes burned with fury, but she didn't cry. Jack stepped forward. "Let her go," the Dark Leader hissed. "You are the key human, your bond, your blood. Come to me and she lives." Jack didn't move. His heart beat louder. The white necklace stone at his chest glowed. But deep inside him, something ancient stirred. A voice, not of words, but memory. Long ago, a great fire fell from the sky. Humans with light in their bones and love in their hearts came to this planet. They shared their fire, their warmth. They created bonds not to rule but to heal. The ones who accepted it became peaceful tribes, but others wanted to use it as a weapon, to force, to burn. Those were cast out. Now, one human remained, and the fire remembered. Back in the present, Jack dropped his broken spear. He walked toward the enemy slowly, hands up. "No!" Jara screamed. "Don't!" The Dark Leader grinned. Wise choice. But just before Jack reached him, he stopped. He closed his eyes and whispered, "Vortari, awaken." The necklace flared. White flames exploded from Jack's chest. The Dark Leader staggered back, screaming. The flames didn't burn Jack. They surrounded him like armor, alive, protective. The crystal in the enemy's hand cracked. Jara fell to the ground as the roots vanished. Jack opened his eyes. They were glowing white. Not with rage, with love. He turned to Jara, held out his hand. "Come." She took it without question. Together their bodies lit up, the bond complete, the fire whole. The dark warriors tried to attack, but their weapons turned to dust near the flames. One by one, they dropped to their knees, shielding their eyes. The enemy leader roared, "This isn't over!" He leapt into the air, his crimson staff raised high. Jack caught it with one hand. The fire surged through the weapon and shattered it. The enemy's body turned to ash. Silence fell. The fire faded gently, and the village stood unharmed. Later, the people sang songs of old, of the fire that loved, of the star flame returned. Jack and Jara sat beside the stream again, their hands joined. The elder came and bowed. "You are no longer visitor, Jack. You are legend. This land will remember your light." Jack smiled, tired but whole. Jara leaned her head on his shoulder. "You didn't run," he looked at her. "I ran all my life, until you." She smiled, and somewhere in the jungle sky, the stars burned brighter, as if proud.